Welcome to today's meeting. Today's date, September 30th, 1997. Yesterday, September 29th, we captured the famous killer and man who we thought was behind the recent disappearances here in Medell, Haro Lilin. The case went as following. After the deputy set up a trap in an unused home, Haro broke in, where the deputy and I, along with multiple officers, confronted him. After chatter back and forth, Haro laid eyes on the deputy. When he did, he was sent into a state of panic and fled from the scene. We chased after him, and I caught him and pinned him down near the nowhere door area. I detained him, and he was brought back here to be interrogated. The deputy, during the chase, had gotten lost and had to walk all the way back here. During the interrogation, he said nothing involving his guilt with the murder and disappearance cases. That was when the deputy, who had gotten back to the station, entered. And, like before, Haro was sent into immediate emotional distress, claiming guilt to his murders, but saying he knew nothing about the disappearances. He was then escorted to the holding cells until he could be tried. When guards went down to feed him and make sure he didn't escape, his lifeless body was found. His cell was unlocked and opened, and before his body was a silenced Glock 17 and a painting with a quote attached to it. Medics reported he had been dead for 34 minutes, meaning his time of death was exactly 0 hour. We've scanned all security footage of the cell, but after a few moments of observing, the footage became corrupted, preventing us from seeing the culprit. Scanning fingerprints didn't help either, as the fingerprints on the gun, when scanned, showed no match. As for the quote and painting, the painting was a depiction of Haro standing as shadowy figures tear him apart, bit by bit. And the quote I can't even explain. Begin quote. Haro Lilin, the child of the devil, killed for his own gain and sick view of justice. We showed ourselves to him, tried to remind him what world he lived in, but that failed. And one too many times has he sinned. So, we decided to remove him. End quote. Now, you are all probably wondering why that is so important. A single hour after Haro's death, 17,931 new, quote-unquote, disappearances occurred. I say disappearances in very loose air quotes because each victim was discovered in the forest, murdered and strung up, or nailed to a cross or pentagram. This is all to say. The disappearances of Medell have yet to be solved. The culprit behind this has ignored any warnings of their actions. Furthermore, they have been more aggressive. Sometimes, when we find a victim who fights back, all that is left of them is a mangled corpse. And other times when we find them, in very graphic states. It's gotten to a point within the last 4 hours, no one dares leave their houses. Not even criminals. So, until we solve these cases, you are all to redirect resources to finding the culprit behind all of this and end their sorry, pitiful existence. Dismissed. Deputy, that means you too. I am going home. I need a long time to process what has been going on these past 4 hours. You have work to do. That's an order, seriously. Leave me be. I need to think. I need a long time to think. Fine. Fine, if you want to drive me back to my place for safety, you can. But I don't want you staying there. I just want to be left alone. Oh, you noticed the bags. Yeah. I haven't slept since, I don't even remember, the 26th? Time has no meaning anymore. Oh, right. You're going to drive me home. shouldn't have had those pre-made shots before the meeting. Home, sweet home. You know, I take back what I said at the station. Can you stay with me tonight? Wait, 6:30 already? How did it take us 2.5 hours to get here? I thought you were a good driver. So what? I gave you the wrong directions 10 times in a row. It's not my fault. I'm tired on top of drinking twice as much as I should have. So, now the alcohol is running through my system and making me a dumbass. What? Did I say something? I am too drunk and tired for this. Deputy, I won't remember anything that happens here, so... Can I trust you to keep a secret? Good. I never tell this to anyone but my most trusted partner or friend. And you fit both boxes, so... Haro. He's my nephew. I know. Crazy how I can be blood related to that son of a bitch, but listen to me. After my mother and father separated, my brother and I got split up as well. We both got the short end of some stick. Just, mine was way worse. My brother was 14 years older than me, so when I was 4, he and some girl made a child. Haro. It wasn't until later in life I found out my brother's wife was a serial killer. She ended up murdering him, my brother, and teaching Haro all of the skills that she knew. When I was 18, I went to law school to become an investigator to formally imprison Haro. But by the time I graduated at 22, because I decided to spend an extra year just to make sure everything I learned the previous 3 stayed, Haro and my dad struck a deal. I'm sure you remember it from his monologue, that I would never imprison Haro, lest I have my reputation ruined. I stayed silent for so long till my dad died. I don't know why. So when he passed on, I could essentially screw him over from the afterlife by breaking his deal. After his death, he sent all of his money to my mom, who was killed by Haro shortly after, thinking he could steal the inheritance. In her will, she transferred all of her money, my dad's money, as well as the secret stash her and dad kept hidden for emergencies, all to me. The reason I don't spend my parents' money is because it's connected to my dad, and I cut ties with him when I was 24, 1 month before his death. Another thing no one knows about me, my parents were, what's the word for rich folks, where one person was a complete devil and one was an angel. Because that was my family. With the money that was given to me from my mom and my dad's wills, I have over 7.3 million in a second bank account that I never use. I've been contemplating just donating it to charity, but that would also mean donating the connection I have to my mom as well. And I don't want to lose that. It's been so long since I've seen her. I don't even recall her face. Just a lullaby she used to sing to me. Deputy, will you ever leave me? Your document said so much on how you work. One job, and you vanish, never to be seen again. Is this the same situation? Will you just up and leave after solving all of this? Will you leave me? Deputy, you're so adorable. So small, yet can easily pull twice your weight. Literally. Seeing as you can pick me up. A perfect partner. But it's sad how you ended up in this position. Your father and mother were abusive, to the point of permanent scarring. Your niece for the sacrifice to the cult of Natas. And your parents all of a sudden cared about you once you got a job and could sustain a comfortable and peaceful life for you and your parents. I'm glad you kicked your parents to the curb. They deserved it for disregarding you their whole life. Good to see you standing up to them. I'm tired, Deputy. The Book of Revelations, Chapter 23, Verse 1. There once was a man. He had no name, no soul, yet he did good. He wandered around aimlessly, helping out those who could not help themselves. And as he did, his popularity grew, but so too did his enemies. One day, he was confronted by a group of men. They ridiculed him for his body, his clothing, his way of thinking. He didn't extort the weak. He helped them, which harmed the men. And so they beat him with sticks, poured tar on him, chained him up, and whipped him for weeks on end, till he was barely alive. And then they left him for dead. In his last moments, he apologized for everything he had done. His words carried on a drift to his son, who wandered around, spreading the news of his father's murder, and in time, the number grew. The men who extorted power over the weak had it stripped away till they were on their knees before the son. They begged and pleaded for his mercy, his help, and when he turned away, refusing to help them, they tried to strike back, but that led to their demise. They were beaten, burned, and ridiculed by those that man had helped. When they were left in a state like the father was in, they realized what they had done, and so they cried out for forgiveness. But no one heard. They pleaded, but after what they had done to not just the father, but others, they had become monsters. And what monster deserves forgiveness? What monster? Hey guys, Scratch here. This one was very interesting. I liked it. It was just very story heavy, which is what I like in my audios. So this was really nice. I very much enjoyed it. Thank you, TPA, of course, for writing this. I did have to take out singing the lullaby that the detective had mentioned, because I couldn't figure out a way to sing it in a way that would be a good tempo with the way that the lyrics were. So I decided to give up on that. Hopefully that wasn't important to the story. But yeah. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. I love interacting with comments. And you made it this far, so why not subscribe? Join the Patreon and the Discord. And yeah. Bye-bye.